Welcome to my nightmare. This is the story of a dog that ruined a stretching video. Or maybe he made it. That's yet to be seen. Get out of here. I'm going to do a cat stretch. I hope I don't offend you. So my clinical delivery of real-time stretching, showing you my flow with a little gentle music in the background. Gone off the rails a little bit, and I'll just explain some of the stretching that I'm doing. This is how I would stretch in order, by the way. Just not normally with a dog, and that's why I don't stretch at home. The first thing I like to do after workout, or a big skate session, is a cat stretch, lengthening and providing some relief to my deep spinal muscles, rotators and erectors, as well as scapulolevators and lats and traps and the like. Rhomboids. Yeah, arching like a sassy cat. I try to hold for about 10 seconds. Do it about 3 or 4 times. I am rushing things for the video a little bit here. Apologies for that. Oh, this one I like. It's a lat stretch. You get a bit of a tricep stretch. This one's a great full back stretch. You get a bit of twist in. I like to pin my extended hand underneath my planted hand, which is a few inches forward of my shoulder. Exaggerating my breathing here is key. I love feeling my ribs expand and the feeling of my back muscles stretching as I breathe. Yeah, I do this one at least 2 times per side. So the low stretch is the same thing as far as expanding my rib cage and feeling my back stretch. You can push this one a little more than the last one. The last one, I would say, don't try to get a great stretch on. In this lower position, you can reach that hand out and try to get a little extra stretch. Let yourself rotate. Challenge yourself a little bit. I don't actually know Dexter's here at the time. I knew he was close, but I didn't know he'd cuddled in against my feet so snugly. From here, I'm set up to move into an abdominal stretch. I bring as much air as I can into my chest, lower my hips, and bring my chest upward, tilting my head a bit backward. I try not to do too much of a backward tilt of the head. I don't want to challenge my cervical vertebrae here. That's not the point at all. And then back into a regular Joe lat stretch. And then roll it up and into a hurdler type stretch. And once again, I'm rushing it a little bit. On these ones, I like to hold for about 10 seconds, get myself nice and low. I have to put both arms on the opposite side of each leg. If I try to hug the leg, I'm not really getting enough mobility to stretch myself, challenge myself. This one's fantastic for the glutes, hamstrings, and hip flexors. And here I'm stretching out the adductors. I'm not challenging my adductors much here. I generally only ever stretch myself to the point where I envision myself needing to be in position. For instance, I will aim to have super flexible hamstrings because I can imagine there's a time where I want my knees against my chest. I don't envision myself doing a lot of split type things in sports, so I don't go terribly wide here. I could go a little wider. I could use a little more mobility here. But after a workout, this is pretty much the extent of it. Just a nice little pull. And I usually can't help going into this hurdler type stretch again. In this one, it looks like you could be getting a stretch in that front leg, and you could if you wanted to challenge yourself. But I'm doing this specifically for the calves. You could get a very good calf stretch just by hanging it off a stair. Probably more effective, but I like this one. It feels more athletic, a more realistic position. So it was quite easy for me to tolerate Dexter here. It's still quite special, if you know Dexter. He doesn't necessarily need to be beside people all the time. He is an affectionate little dog, and he does like to lean against me while watching, what am I watching right now? Oh, that funny one, Norseman. But he's usually not this needy. So I thought it was pretty cute. Sorry. So the piriformis stretch here is one of the most important stretches you can do if you skate, or even if you do a lot of sitting. If you're an office worker, you do a lot of editing, anything where you're in a chair a lot and you're compressing that piriformis. Sitting on your ass. As we all want to do. So yeah, I cross my leg and try to get that foot right against my shoulder. Open up that piriformis area. There are better stretches for this, which I'll get to eventually. But this is convenient, simple, and won't hurt you. Well, it might hurt you, but it's not a dangerous stretch. So yeah, I resign myself to keeping my head up for this one because of the grunt. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I don't push this one too much. And the quad stretch, I don't spend much time on this in the video, but yes, stretching it out with the same side hand, I get a little more quaddy. On the opposite, I'm really hitting those hip flexors. I don't really feel like I get my quad on the same side stretch unless I lean forward a fair amount and pull that knee behind me. So on this one, I'm in the push-up position without raising my pelvis off the ground. And I rotate slightly to the left for 8 seconds, go back to the middle, reset, and then back to the right. I don't push this one a lot. You only have to rotate a small amount to feel significant tension in your front delts and pecs. Look sideways. Keep those elbows in the same place. And then I like to hit a cat stretch in various positions, relieving tension up and down the spine. And then into the hamstring stretch. I spend a lot of time on the hamstrings. The standing hamstring being my favorite. Now let's go where we hang to naturally. It shouldn't be super far when you've just worked out or skated. Might be a little stiff. You're warm, so you might not be terribly stiff. Super heavy weights, you're not going to be hypermobile at this point. I'm going to push a little now, but just to the toes. It's so easy to do this, bend just a little bit, to take all that tension away. So I have to be hard on myself. I like to use a mirror. I get myself super straight here. I want to feel this in my hands. Am I boring you? Hold it for 8 seconds. Knowing that it will feel much better the second time around at the same point. Oh yeah, my natural point is so much lower now. Definitely in the top 3 stretches for keeping a healthy body. Yeah, that's the hamstring stretch. Stretching with great intensity is something you should do once you've, had a few weeks of stretching under your belt. Just like lifting, you can overdo it, you can be overly optimistic, and blow past pain barriers that I couldn't. And fuck yourself up. Walk tall. Let's go. So I put out a request for this upcoming stretch on Instagram, and Juan Jose Rodriguez came up with the DexStretch. Simplicity, including the name, cementing his legacy. Yeah, the DexStretch is a winner.